Hey, Gutfoxx here. So, I was gonna wait a week or so to do a video on the potential big collection on its way, and no, these are not new cards just put into the game. It's last year's game, right? For those that maybe didn't play 20, you're probably like, what the heck? That looks kind of funny. And it does a little bit, but I'm gonna go through these things. I want to go through a great post, and this is the reason why I'm doing this video. I saw this on the subreddit by Revolutionary Panic 61. He goes through the requirements he thinks of each one. We're not gonna read it through. I'll put it in the descriptions. You guys can take a look at it. But overall, I wanted to go through what this big collection could be, who it could potentially be. You know, like speculate. There's probably, I don't know, 20 to 50 names it could potentially be. And, I almost said EA. SDS can throw curveballs sometimes and basically, like, inflate a guy's attributes more than they really deserve to be at times. So, like, even though we could say, oh, that guy's going to suck because of blank and blank, like, we just hand wave that sometimes by giving them different series of cards. Trout's card, obviously, you can't make him good enough as this card last year, which, it was Trout. You know, a 5-tool superstar, I can get out of the way. An 89 arm. He was always great. I know the arm was always the weakest part of his game, but overall, what's wild to me is that this card was, like very similar to like Live Series Trout this year when he had Inside Edge. But that was last year's card. How did I hit with him last year? I hit 425 with him, OPS of 1428, if you can see that. But that was his collection last year, and it had a whole bunch of things. It's very much like the Mariano Rivera collection. This year, we were able to skip 1, 2, and I think some of this was, like this Wander, I think was added afterwards, if I recall correctly, and this one, no, this one was there at the time too. So you're able to skip a few at the time. You had to get a bunch done. You had to get prospects, prestige. Prestige, we don't have a program this year. We do have super factors this year, but it's not an actual program like prestige was last year. We had Tops Now voucher, and this year I'd have a better chance. That Finest last year was very expensive, and all these things got cheaper as the year went along, which is one of the reasons like these collections are nice. And I almost prefer Honest Wagner's collection in 19 because it was so hard and so expensive. I like I'm gonna say this really sus like. Don't take this out of context, but I like big hard things in video games because I think it gives us something to grind for. Like, right, if you get something done in one day and then just using the card, it's like, okay, cool, that was fun. But I know a lot of people, and obviously, I'm kind of like, I make content on this game, so I'm ahead of, I'd say, a good majority of the audience. So maybe this is kind of just, me being like, first world problems. I'm done with content too soon because I've been prepping for this thing all year. Whereas, like, I guess 2 years ago with Honest Wagner was sprung upon us and nobody was prepped for it. So, anyways, it's a lot like this, right? It's a lot like the most I want to show off last year, and I kind of want to go through guys that I, think might get there. So let's take a look at the post while I bring up 21, and we can take a look at the most set and take a look at some of the cards and speculate on some of the ones. All right, so like he thinks, and this is actually a pretty decent line, right? You think it's gonna be easier than you would expect to. Now, me myself, I have every card in the game except for I think 4 or 5 at the moment. One of them because SDS's customer service refuses to get back to me about my Bryce Harper that they wouldn't award me from the frickin' Conquest rewards, which is still, I'm so salty about that. Reply to tickets, SDS. Please, your customer service is worse than EA's. It's awful. At least they reply. Okay, so with that said, yes, easier, okay? Because since in the last few years, ever since like Immortals and the backlash that we had on that, they've made this game a lot more accessible, a lot easier for, most everybody to complete it if you grind it. And like, as I said, as the year goes on, as we end up getting more cards, will it end up being easier itself? I'm on PlayStation. This might take a second to load. I was using on Xbox, but we got the thing through the 5th inning program. So some of these things that are kind of expensive, I do expect a pack sale to come here one of these days before the collection, right? To allow us to kind of load up on some of these cards. Maybe the 5th inning program with it's huge, like there's a ton of rewards along the way. We've gotten, all these bonus. We got 42 packs, so there might be a home run derby pack or an all-star pack in here along with the more 42 packs and whatnot to kind of help us catch up and get more cards prepped and ready for the big collection, more kitchen sinks potentially. There, I have not been able to finish off the 650 yet this inning. Maybe I could do it next week with double XP, but it's getting close. I don't know. So what's gonna happen, right? What's the collection? Let's go through what he thought of between All-Star. He thinks he's gonna get Otani out of the All-Star program. So if you haven't done Otani, like I said, you're gonna have another opportunity. If they don't offer the opportunity before the collection, they're gonna give more packs to lower the price of that Otani set, sometime this summer. It's, definitely gonna happen. I would be very shocked, like 99% chance, right? That's just the way SDS does things. They don't kind of leave it hanging. The only things they leave hanging, the only things that we won't really see again, and which is the reason why a lot of people that are prepping and these prices are going crazy, the things that we won't see again are these BR rewards. I would be very surprised if they brought back BR rewards. Now, I know they changed the BR program this year, but if they brought Mike Schmidt back, if they brought some of the old World Series rewards back, I would be surprised, as that would be something new that SDS would do. Lou Brock, I believe, was an old school BR. Yeah, he was an old school BR one too. So he's at 105. So when the big collection drops, and if you need Lou Brock, yikes for his price. But the thing is, like I said about the collection, is you could potentially skip some things, right? Like Mariano Rivera here, you could skip a voucher. Future Stars, I skipped to do the Mo. So you could potentially skip 2 of the vouchers. So if something gets really expensive, like I said, out of that set, for maybe, like, I don't know, if they require all the awards and like Harper and Walker or something, or the few of them that get a little bit more expensive here, you just can't afford it. You're like, all right, let's skip it and go on to something else. So there's that opportunity, right? You won't need everything, and I think they'll make it pretty decent. A lot of people I see on the market are 100% prepping. Like I went to some of these cards. I don't know. We'll take a look at Pierre. Listing not, no, he's a bad choice. All right, I think he's a set. Who's on the market? View on marketplace. Dang it, I want like a gold on the marketplace. I can't seem to find one. Vita. Yeah, so like Vita himself, right? Okay, he doesn't really have it, but like on other cards that I was buying, there was like, okay, this one has 46 sell orders. Wild. But people were putting in like, for like a buy order, there was like 32 of them stacked. There was like multiple stacked for some of these low cards because they expect these prices to go up when these sets come out. Now, prices will generally go up for cards. It's hard to predict which ones it will go up for because it all depends, and this is what happened last year. Was like some of the sets, they required a high percentage of the cards to go in, and some of the sets they really didn't, right? Some of the sets that it was kind of like, all right, do 50% of it. So like he went through, did a good job kind of analyzing like how much they did last year, how much they did for the Mo set, and you can read through that. He projects 15 out of 27, so being able to skip 12 cards is quite a few, right? If that ends up true, like you only need just over like half of the cards, like that makes this thing super easy to do, where a lot of these cards, like this Biggio card, right? This 91 overall is going, and he's up to 9K now. He was about 6K when I checked a week or two ago, whenever that big thing came out. But anyways, being able to get all these cards, it might not be a bad idea to grab some. I'm missing a few of them. Ooh, my Christy Mathewson buy order has not go through. He's gone up 10K in the last week. Sad. I thought that double XP would lower him a little bit more. I might wait till Friday. I just have a buy order up for him, and if it gets filled, it gets filled. But yeah, I don't necessarily think they're going to require every single thing out of the set, and they'll be able to skip some sets. I like what we saw with the Mo set. Mo was a little bit hard to do right away because they added so many cards at the same time they brought out the Mo set. Was it with TA2? I don't recall exactly. I should have probably researched that. So a lot of cards came out at the same time this set came out. So you had to grind some of the new cards to get Rivera, which I don't think was a bad combination, right? Like I prefer my, content a little bit more split up so it's not like overwhelming on one day. But I think what they tried to do with that with Mo was like, all right, you can't get him day one. You're going to have to work through a little bit of the new content to get him, who's also part of the new content, which I definitely see why they did it that way. I stated my opinion on, like, I kind of like my stuff more like a little bit separated. Didn't a certain band from the 90s say you got to keep them separated? I think that was something with an O. The O-Neaters. Yes, the famous Wonders spelled O-Neaters. Anyways, I think it's not a bad idea. Now, using his guidelines, I think these are like minimum targets, right? Like he obviously could be back, like maybe it goes like 18 here and some of them, but I think if you get to his minimums, I think you're safe-ish. I would try and shoot for a little bit more if you can afford it of these sets than he says, because SDS could very well up them and like up the number that you want, and then they can also provide a path to get more of them if they introduce a lot of those cards into the game when they bring it in, like I talked about with Mo, what happened, right? Like he talked about when Mo dropped 4 to 7 were required for the vouchers, though not a clean number, I expected 8 to 14. So even easier than Mo is what he expect, which is not something I expect. I don't like Mo. I didn't think was very hard. I expect to be similarly difficult. So that is exactly similar to be difficult. I can't math. Oh man, you take some time off of streaming, and all of a sudden you don't get bullied enough, and now it's gonna be harder. It's gonna be this isn't the same as Mo. Yeah, it's the exact same as Mo. 8 out of 14. I can totally see me like 10. Because like if this is who I think it could be, right? Like let's go through who you potentially think it could be. Sorry, I'm already over 10 minutes. I've been rambling. It's either gonna be like a 5-tool guy, right? Like Mike Trout was last year. Like we had Honest Wagner the year before. Those guys were 5-tool players. Honest actually came out of a position, like if you guys remember content in 19, it was much more scarce than it was last year, and definitely more scarce than it is this year. So you want to position the 5-toolness, and I don't think they're gonna do something. They're probably not gonna do Honest or Trout again. So these things are basically out, but like positions of rarity are middle infield and catcher. We have Schwarber. It's definitely not gonna be third base because we have our Chipper Jones there. Definitely not gonna be that spot. Outfield is kind of stacked. We got Acuna. Shohei, we should be able to start in the outfield. I still don't know why they haven't fixed their game and made it more like the major leagues, or exactly like the major leagues where you can hit pitchers. And they don't have separation with position players and 6-run rule. That shit got taken out in 21. But anyways, it's not going to be a first baseman. That's a very stacked position. It could be a first baseman, right? Where it could be Babe Ruth, right? If they give 125 Babe Ruth across the board like they did to his immortal card, which they should have done to any Babe Ruth card, final card, because it's Babe freaking Ruth, then I can see that, right? Like Babe Ruth makes sense at first base. A lot of people are saying Hank Aaron. I think Hank Aaron makes a ton of sense here too for the outfield. He would he's tough because he wouldn't necessarily be a 5-tool. If you take a look at Hammer and Hank's, what position? Okay, Hammer and Hank was an 88. And he was a right fielder. Isn't that is there a higher Hank? There might be a higher Hank. I might have missed. I think I missed the higher Hank. But anyways, like 70 speed for an 88. Like if they move up to 99 and they get plus 11 speed, I mean that's in the 80s. Then parallels, they can bring it up to 85, then you can parallel them out to 90 speed. That's good enough in my opinion for Hank. And if he gives them like 120s, I swear we got another Hank Aaron. I'm looking past it somehow. How do I filter by? Let's just maybe I'll search him on the marketplace. I'm sorry, my boomer brain is not working. Whoops, that struck my balls. Yeah, there. No, there it's not. No. I am not a smart man. But regardless of my ineptitude, okay. Maybe we'll look at my binder. He's not a center fielder. There's a Maze. Wow, am I really that freaking dense? Okay, I'm just dense. I'm a dense boy. Collection, inventory. Let's go to the Braves. There he is, 94. This is a center fielder. I did pass him in the center field. Anyways, I guess they made him a 67 speed for 94 overall, but if we take the 88 and bring it up, then it's close to what I was talking about. But if they give him like 110s across the board or mix it a little bit, 125 contact versus lefty, power in the 110 to 115s, good speed, I could see it being Hank. Now, well, I haven't really used Hank enough to remember how good his swing was. It didn't really stand out for me. It wasn't insane, but with a card getting 99 overall with the stats, it could very well play up because when you have 125 contact or 125 power at All-Star or both, it does pretty well. With that said, all right, we could very well get a Clemente too. Everybody's freaking out about the Clemente moment right now because of how awful it is to do today, and it won't soon be forgotten. But this card, he hit awful for me, right? When most of my guys are averaging over 400, the fact that he averages 269 is embarrassing. It's so bad. Now, he's got 99 arm, as he should. It's Roberto Clemente, one of the greatest arms of all time. They should give him better. He was faster than his stolen base record, to my knowledge as a Pittsburgh fan. leads to believe. And also with his power, right? The issue is, like, you guys know how hard it is at a home run at Forbes. It was that difficult IRL. Roberto Clemente had good power. The fact that he had to play at Forbes for his career doesn't, it shows in the scorebook that, like, his power sucks, but he actually hit the ball hard. So he could very well have 100 power. Just because he played at Forbes, it's just like today's moment, right? It made him look awful. Like, and it's kind of like a chicken and the egg thing, right? Like today's moment. Like Roberto Clemente doesn't get good power because he played at Forbes because he didn't have good stats, and so now you can't hit it out at Forbes because you don't have good stats for hitting it out at Forbes. See what I'm saying? Or unless you played like, you know, Roberto Clemente, maybe played like Babe Ruth at Yankee Stadium, where like 310 down the line, it was a little bit easier to hit at that stadium versus like 50 million down the line at Forbes. So I'm just trying to say Roberto Clemente could be a better 99 than we give it credit for. Another one, Willie Mays. You know, we had a couple years ago the 99. I think we've had a very hard time last 2 years getting Willie Mays, right? He was the Live Series collection a few years back, and then last year was it World Series or BR? One of those two awards last year. So very hard to get him last year. Came out a little later in the year. Willie Mays could get it. Mickey Mantle could get it, but he was Live Series last year, so I doubt they put him into another collection again. It could be a new legend, right? Could be A-Rod. Could be, I doubt it's going to be a pitcher, but it could be, you know, Randy Johnson, Clemens. They could bring in a new guy. I don't know. Pedro Martinez would be kind of an insane guy too, but I think people prefer position players because they play every day versus once every fifth. So that's why I doubt it's going to be a pitcher, but I'm not saying it can't, right? It's got, what, like a 5% chance of being a pitcher maybe? I really hope it's not a future star. If they screw us with future stars, I'll be very salty. The one I think I talked about, it could be, should have been a Pirate. Should have been a Pirate, Ken Griffey Jr. But the way old draft rules worked, there was BS. They alternated AL, NL every year. Even though the Pirates had the worst record in the league, they gave it to the Mariners because it was their turn, which is dumb. Can you imagine an early 90s outfield with Bonds and Griffey in it? Ooh, that would have been so cool. Anyways, yeah, he would be a 5-tool stud. Griffey makes sense as the reward. You know, looking like probably his immortal card in 18 it would end up being. So Griffey makes a ton of sense. We just got this 96 not too long ago. It came out on the 6th, so it came out 20 days ago. Would they bring another collection reward maybe a month out afterwards? I don't know. You know, other old stars, old legends that we saw in game. I was just looking through some of the old sets, Larry Doby, Minnie Minoso. You could go through all of these cards, and, you know, you could say, guys, oh, they won't be a 5-star because they're a little slow, but, you know, it doesn't matter. So, like, I don't know. Do you guys think it's going to be current day? The only thing I hope is not a future star. I really hope it's not a future star. But current day players, 5-tool studs. Could we get another Buxton again? Gallo, Immortal Gallo. I don't know. It's going to be hard to, like, I think Fernando Tatis makes a ton of sense because it's shortstop, and I was talking about that. If we go with Tatis there in San Diego, I think I passed it, didn't I? I totally passed it because I am not a smart man. So a Tatis 99 overall card could very well be it, and I think people will go crazy for that one. He is on the cover of a video game. I don't recall which one, but he would be not a bad choice either for the set. So that's my chance. So overall, you definitely want to go and grab, if you're looking to complete the set, right? If you don't care about it, definitely want to get in early, start getting those low-end cards, kind of cheap, put in buy orders, acquire the stubs for it. Like I said, I think we might get some more, you know, it's not a bad idea to always invest during pack sales if they have that before the big set. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you guys do if you're preparing for it. If not, let me know if I missed anything. Thanks for watching Call to Action. I will see you tomorrow.